Hey everybody, welcome back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 live in RV City all weekend long, and we can't wait. The game is coming up on Saturday, of course, on CBS 47, 3:30 kick, and the party is already on in RV City. I actually turned the camera around for our next guest because I wanted some Dogs colors in the background. So we got some Georgia right behind us for our video folks. And we welcome in right now former quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs, Aaron Murray, who played in this game and loves this game because that record's pretty good. Aaron, how you doing, man?
It's definitely good to have a 3-1 record, especially because my parents still live in Tampa, so they can walk around the city proudly with their red and black and not have to worry about, Florida fans giving them crap the entire time. So yeah, it's nice, and it's such an awesome game, and I wish I was down there. I got to go last year. Was blessed and lucky enough to be named to the Hall of Fame for the game. So got to go experience it actually for the first time as a fan, and it did not disappoint one bit. So like I said, I wish I was out there again this weekend because I think it's going to be a pretty darn good football game.
Yeah, we'll get into that part in just a moment. What was that like as a fan? You've heard all the stories, right? Everybody tells you about them. It's part of the buildup of the game. Forever you're a Georgia Bulldog, and you always hear everybody tailgating here in RV City, everywhere else, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. What was that like for you, knowing that you had played in the game, but you get to experience it a different way?
Well, I grew up watching the game first. I mean, I'm a Tampa kid, and obviously a lot of respect growing up for the SEC, and I went to a lot of Florida games, so of course I was going to watch that Georgia versus Florida football game at 3:30 on CBS every single season. So I grew up watching it, never went, but just grew up watching it, loving every single game, and then getting an opportunity, like you said, to play in it was a dream come true. And then watching it last year in the stands and being part of everything. I think we got there, I want to say we got there on Thursday night, late Thursday, so just had dinner, and then Friday we had the luncheon at the stadium, got the award, and then kind of spent Friday night having some fun on the town, and then woke up early Saturday because game day was there, and never really been on the game day set either. So I was like, man, I want to go. I get to kill two birds with one stone here. I get to go to Georgia-Florida game, and I get to go see game day. So I got up early. We went over there. I got to experience that, and then kind of walked around, went to some tailgates, and it like I said, it did not disappoint one bit. It's an incredible scene. Everyone was awesome. The passion for either a Georgia fan or a Florida fan could be seen at every single tailgate. And I thought everyone was pretty nice. I was looking forward to, I guess not looking forward to, you never want anyone to get in any fights, but I was expecting a little bit more trash talking, I guess you could say. But Florida fans would say hey to me, and Georgia fans would say hey to me, and it ended up going pretty smooth, and it was a lot of fun for both myself and my family.
Former Georgia Bulldog Aaron Murray, the quarterback of this football team during a very successful run of this Georgia-Florida game, won 3 out of 4 games from 2010 to 2013. Now doing some work with CBS Sports and also Sirius XM, and also going to play a little football. We'll talk about that a bit later on with the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL. Well, talk about your games a little bit more, Aaron. I mean, these are some classics. Really, the one you lost was an unbelievable football game. You lost 34-31 in overtime, but my guess is one of the most memorable ones has to be 2012 when the Gators were the second-ranked team in the country and you upset them.
Yeah, that was an awesome one, and just the amount of playmakers on that field. I mean, you had Jarvis Jones making plays defensively, knocking balls out at the goal line, and then one of my favorite plays of all time as a Georgia Bulldog was just a simple run-it route. We call it a run-it. It's an 8-yard hitch. It's a 3-step and a 3-step and let it rip for me, and probably about a 5-step route for Malcolm Mitchell. And it's something we just run over and over and over again. You think it's one of the basic routes. When you go in the day one install, it's a slant, it's a hitch, it's a run it. And you just run them over and over and over again, and you really don't realize when that importance of the timing, anticipation, the precision with the route, using your hands, coming back to the football, how that can play such a big role in such a pivotal game. Something so small, so easy. I mean, kids at all ages run this route, and you may take it for granted, but Malcolm never took it for granted. We did a great job picking up the blitz on the backside, one-on-one coverage. Like I said, he did a great job creating separation with his route, catching it, eluding the first defender, and then kind of splitting two to get in the end zone for the touchdown was for me, one of the most memorable plays of my lifetime there at the University of Georgia, and just an incredible win, an incredible football game.
I love that you guys remember those plays, and I know it's kind of like a golfer, right? Remembers that shot from 142 yards out. I just love the memory you guys have of the play call, the exact moments, every step, every second of that play, and you just described it to us. And Aaron Murray joining us, former Georgia Bulldog quarterback. So many great memories here in this Georgia-Florida game for Aaron Murray and the Dogs, especially during his time in Athens. I wanted to ask you about Malcolm Mitchell. I don't know him very well, but I love his story. Can you give us a little bit more insight about Malcolm, what he's done for kids, and what was it like to play with him? I mean, to me, he seems like one of those guys. When you're the quarterback of the football team, he's one of your receivers. That guy's got to be a lifelong friend. But give us something maybe we don't know. Give us a little bit more insight about Malcolm Mitchell.
Well, I knew he was like that from the first day I met him, and when he showed up in the summer his freshman year. I mean, he stood out in practice. He was there every single day, busting his butt, asking me questions. How do you want me to run this route versus coverage and that coverage, and just always just grinding, doing the right thing. He's someone that you never had to worry about getting in trouble or doing not showing up to study hall or not showing up to class or not showing up to training table. I mean, he was there early, and he was ready and prepared at all times. And that's something that is kind of bled over his entire career when it comes to football, and then it kind of just bled over into his day-to-day life of just being a person who takes care of business, a person who puts others first, who's unselfish, who's willing to go that extra mile to make sure that everything's done absolutely perfect. So I love his book. I have it here at my house on my bookshelf, and he's just such an amazing soul in everything he does in the community. And I've had charity events. I had a charity event for ESP. It's an organization I've worked with 10 years based out of Athens, Extra Special People. And, every time I hold an event, whether it's a gala or if it's a charity golf tournament, which we had a few months ago, I text him and he's like, sure, let's make this happen. I'm there. Tell me the date. I mean, he's just one of those guys you can always count on, who's willing and wanting to and enjoys giving back to everyone. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Malcolm.
I love hearing that too, because that's the guy I envision from afar. That's what you read about, and you just put an exclamation point on it, which is really cool. Hey, let's talk about this football team right now, this game. I mean, how good is this game going to be between the Dogs and the Gators? What do you like, what do you not like about either team, and what's going to be the decider on Saturday here in Jacksonville?
It's going to be an awesome football game. I mean, these are two of the best teams in the country. I think they can compete with anyone in the country on any given weekend. So I'm looking forward to watching it. Luckily, I have the Cincinnati ECU game at 7:00, so I'll get to watch every minute. Hopefully, unless it goes into like double or triple overtime, I might miss that. But it's a great matchup, and for Georgia, people living in the state of Georgia, people are a little upset right now about the offense, and are hoping that somehow this off week that they've found a way to recreate themselves. And for all those fans hoping that, I'm going to let you know, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. It's too tough. I've been a part of too many teams and seen too much that it's too tough to recreate your identity in the middle of the season. You are who you are. So for me and looking at Georgia in the offense, it's less about opening it up and throwing the football over the place and more about, listen, if you're going to call yourself the best offensive line in the country and you're 6-7 deep with 4- and 5-star guys that are going to play in the NFL, this is your opportunity to go and show the country that you are the best offensive line in the country. So this is going to be a huge task for them, and I think that's where Georgia just needs to focus. Run. Don't be upset if the fans are mad that it's a 17-14 game. Who cares? You are a running football team that eats up the clock, and I kind of envision it like, a game that I experienced, 2012 SEC Championship game versus Alabama, where Alabama offensively was not doing a whole lot. I mean, they were successful, but not really putting a ton of points on the scoreboard. And then fourth quarter came along, and they just had their way with our defense. It was just run after run, and those 3- and 4-yard pops all of a sudden turned into 8-, 9-, 10-yard pops. And I think that needs to be Georgia's mentality this game. That needs to be Georgia's mentality the rest of the football season. And like I said, they got the dudes at the offensive line to make it happen. They got the backs in the backfield. They got a great quarterback that it has the ability to keep a defense honest with the ability to throw every single route on the route tree. So I think that's going to be their game plan. Take a couple shots here. It's going to be good to see Cager back out there at receiver. Defensively, I'm interested to see what they can do on the defense side of football. The stats are great, but they've yet to face an offense like Florida that has a very accurate quarterback in Kyle Trask, a guy that looks extremely comfortable in this system, and a bunch of great receivers. And most importantly for me, that makes this offense really go for Florida is Pitts at tight end. I absolutely love what Dan Mullen does with him, kind of putting him all over in different places in the formations. He's backside one-on-one. He's the number 3 guy. He's the number 2 guy. He's frontside number 1. I mean, those are such great indicators for a quarterback, what the coverage is, what the blitz is going to be, what are my matchups that I want to take advantage of, and I think they do a great job of that. So offensively, that's going to be kind of the big battle for Georgia. How do you figure out the formations of Florida? When Pitts is backside, what are you going to do? Are you going to play a cornerback there and play zone coverage? Are you going to put a linebacker? What linebacker can match up with him? Or is it a safety that's going to match up with him? That's going to be kind of the cat and mouse kind of sort of game we'll see throughout that. So it's going to be a great battle. Both teams have had 2 weeks to prepare for it, so they should be well.
Well, I got to believe SiriusXM and CBS Sports loves having you, man. That was pretty awesome analysis. Great job with that, and then keep up the good work on the radio and TV side of things. Aaron Murray, former Georgia Bulldog quarterback. Our interviews this week from RV City brought to you by Palm Beach Autographs in the Avenues Mall. I got to ask you about a couple of Jags players, man, and one you have a relationship. I'm going to save that one. I know you talk a lot of college football, but how about this Minshew mania? How about this Gardner Minshew guy? For Jacksonville, you like watching him play? Have you caught him at all?
Oh yeah, he's been very entertaining. It's hard not to hear all the excitement down there in Jacksonville about the Mr. Mustache and stuff. I actually had the opportunity to cover him last year. His first game at Washington State. I had Washington State at Wyoming, week 1 last season, and there was obviously talks about this kid has a chance to be pretty decent. I think I actually covered him. Where is he at ECU before that, I believe?
Yes.
I covered him actually my first year, too, at ECU, and he was just getting his butt smacked left and right. Their offensive line wasn't very good. And then the next year I had him in the first game, and I was like, man, this dude's actually pretty legit when you give him some time in the pocket. Can make all the throws. Obviously, it was a fun offense that they were running up there at Wazoo, and he's kind of carried that over. And it looked really, really, really darn good for a freshman, or not freshman, but as a rookie, going out there and making a ton of plays in that offense.
Well, he's throwing it to a guy that you know pretty well, Chris Conley. You played with him in Athens at University of Georgia. Hey, we have Chris on our show on Jags Report Live on Monday nights at Top Golf here in Jacksonville. He is unbelievable. I know he's a good football player, and I know you know that, but he is awesome at the media stuff, and he's a fun guy to be around. He's coming on here in Jacksonville, too. But I need a little dirt on Conley, man. You got anything for me on Conley so I can bring it to our show on Monday nights?
No, I'm telling you, there's no dirt on Conley. He's a Mr. Renaissance man. He's a kind of a man of many passions and does a lot, whether it's on the football field. I know he, in the past, I don't know if he still does, dabbled in like film and music and playing instruments. And like I said, he's a man of many, many talents. He's fun. He's goofy. He's a heck of a dancer, that's for sure, too. But yeah, he's talented. DeFilippo, I was with DeFilippo as my quarterback coach at Philly. I mean, that dude works his tail off. He knows what he's doing when it comes to calling plays, and yeah, he's definitely situated those guys up to make a bunch of plays down there in Jacksonville.
Great connection there, too. I didn't realize the DeFilippo connection with you as well. I got to ask, how much do people bring up the play in the SEC championship game? How much do you and Chris talk about it? And how much of that is almost now appreciated? I know it sticks out, but that's sports, right? I mean, that's entering the arena. That's putting yourself in a position to be there in those moments. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it doesn't work out. But that's the beauty of sports, too.
Yeah, I mean, people that want to blame Chris for that, it's like, I don't know how you can. The ball wasn't intended for him. I don't think he was expecting it. He literally just turned around, ball hits him in the chest. I think it was just all reaction. That's all it is. I mean, for those who are yelling at him, oh, he should knock the football down. I'm like, dude, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's so silly. So, I mean, it happens. I mean, it literally is just unfortunate. They were able to just barely put a fingertip on the football. The ball was actually going for Malcolm Mitchell, trying a little back shoulder fade. It would have been either a catch or incompletion. We've had 2 more plays. And like I said, it's a game of inches or it's a game of fingertips. And literally about a quarter of an inch of his finger tipped that football just enough to kind of get it off course and hit Conley in the chest. He just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just a crazy, crazy football game and crazy ending. And yeah, I get asked about it, probably 365 days out of the year.
Sorry to be one of them.
But It's fine. I mean, that just shows you how much people love college football, love the SEC, and love their Bulldogs. And listen, I'm more than happy to talk about it as much as people want to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's just sometimes the beauty of sports. Sometimes you're on both ends of it. You've been on both ends of it. You still have a passion to play, man. You're going to play in this XFL. Why do you still have such a passion to keep trying?
I'm just playing, and it doesn't affect. I love working with CBS and SiriusXM. So I get to call all the games during the fall and do radio. So I work with the SEC channel. So I'm on from 3 to 6 every single day. So being able to keep that gig is awesome. And then, really all I do in the off season is play golf. So it's gonna hurt my golf game. So I'm like, listen, if I have to give up golf for a few months and get to play a little bit of football, get to go back down to Tampa, where I'm from, get to be in front of friends and family, playing Raymond James Stadium, stadium I went to a bajillion football games at. I was like, you know what? Why not? Like I said, it may hurt my putting and chipping, and I'll get back at that in the summertime before fall football season starts.
Good luck with it. We'll keep an eye on it. We appreciate you joining us. And when you sit on that front porch down the road, man, I know it's a long way away, and you're talking to the grandkids, you can always say when you bring up this Georgia-Florida game, well, my senior year I passed a couple of Gators in the yardage mark and in the record books, and Danny Warfel and Tim Tebow. So that's always got to be a good story to tell down the road.
Yeah, I got lucky. It's always fortunate when you get to start 4 years with the amount of talent that I had around me. It definitely helped add on to those yards and touchdowns and all that good stuff.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you joining us, and have a good one. Enjoy the game from afar this time, and look to catch up with you when you're back in Jacksonville sometime.
Appreciate it. You guys have fun down there.
All right, we will. Former Georgia Bulldog quarterback Aaron Murray joining us here from RV City Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Our interviews this week brought to you by Palm Beach Autographs. When we come back here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, we go to the wall that says it all with Austin Lane, and we break down the Gators and the Dogs. It's on the way on ESPN 690.